Hey, how you guys doing, man? Back again as your host, Jeremy Robinson, as always. And today we got somebody special. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Jamie Coleman. I am head of community for 7th Ave, which is a Black tech startup.
All right. Tech startup is lit, man. So first off, how are you doing, man? How your day going? It's Monday,
Yes. Yeah, no, today's been a really, really great day. A lot of dope things are in the works for this month and in the month of March. And so it's kind of full steam ahead. I just got back from California, then Canada. And so today is like my first full day in Atlanta in like the last 2 weeks. So time zones are completely off. My body is like up at weird hours. And so outside of that, it was a Monday, but it was a really productive Monday. I'm good though.
Yeah, I can understand that. Understand that. Thank you for taking the time because I'm located in Atlanta as well. But like I seen it, I was like, I gotta meet her, man. I had seen you on one of my mentors page, like when you was at
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta see her. I gotta meet her.
Oh yeah. No, super glad you reached out. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Yeah. So first off, man, tell me how was it working at Google, man? Like, how was that experience?
Honestly, it was great. I tend to call myself like the Google, I guess. I don't really know what I say. I used to joke around a lot because I've been in Google since probably my sophomore year of college. It was something that I always wanted to do in the company of a dream job, I guess you could call it. So I ended up applying super early for their internship program. They were like, "Ma'am, you are not a junior in college. You cannot you cannot work here, but here's another program." And so I got involved my sophomore year. Then my junior year, I ended up getting the internship that summer, and then upon completing that, I ended up getting the full-time offer post-graduation. So literally from the start of my career, I've been at Google, and it was an amazing time. I was blessed to have really great managers. And work in really great spaces. And so upon graduation, I went back to the Ann Arbor office, which is, I would consider it like a college 2.0. Everyone in the office was under 28, like managers, your coworkers. And so we're all partying together, like living together, working together on the same teams and in the same place in life. And so that was a really great time just to kind of transition from student to working professional. And then after about, I would say about 2 years in the Ann Arbor office, I moved back down. I got moved to the Atlanta office with a new job where I began to work with like your high-end retail clients in the digital ad space. And so I did that for 2 years before leaving to go to 7th Ave. But I learned a lot. I made some amazing friends. They're still rooting for me to this day, and I still stay in contact with them. And I can say that was probably the first place where I was really challenged as an individual and not as I would say like the norm of the athlete, which is what my prior life was prior to leaving and going to Google.
Got you. So tap into that, man. I mean, you brought it up. So as an athlete, what kind of athlete? Like, what did you do?
I played volleyball at Alabama State.
Volleyball?
Yeah.
Oh man, so you're a big dog. I like volleyball, man. Volleyball is good, great sport, man. It's a great.
It's it's the best sport out there. It is the best sport out there. I'm very biased, but no, I'm rocking with it full through and through.
That's amazing.
You said what?
I said I'm listening to you, but I was like, that's amazing, man.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. But no, I think like my whole entire life it was always Jamie the athlete, and that was what I was referred to. That's what I was known for. And everything that was about me leaned into my sport. When I got to Google, it was cute for like the first 2-3 months. Like, oh, Jamie played ball in college, whoopty whoop. Those were my fun facts. And then after that, it was like, okay, but who are you? Mm-hmm. And so that was really me having to go from an HBCU into white corporate America, and then being a Black woman in tech at that. It was a huge transition of I no longer was this identity I had wrapped myself up in. And so I would say the people in that Google space really challenged me wholeheartedly and holistically to look at myself and start to really figure out like, who are you? And so that was a very interesting time, but we are here today, thankful for it. But yeah, that was my time at Google. I wouldn't have traded it for anything.
Man, that's amazing. That's straight up. That's cool. So how was your experience at Alabama State, man? Needing to be
Yeah, I honestly, it was everything I didn't know I needed. Initially, so I'm born and raised from Detroit, Michigan, and when I first looking at HBCUs and I was going through the recruiting process for ball, I was like, I do not want to go to a Black school. I was like, I have been around Black folks my entire life. You know, you hear those notions and those stereotypes of the world's not Black, so you shouldn't, you know, do like, there was all these different things. And if you want to go work at these big companies, you know, they don't recruit at your school, so you'll never essentially get to where you want to get to going down this path. But I ended up going on a Black college tour with my church, and I was like, oh no, sign me up. Like I'm going here.
Right.
And it sold me. And when I got there for my visit, like everyone was super warm and welcoming. Like it really just felt like family. It was tough, I would say, being an athlete, being so far away from home. Like it was something I had never understood. I was always committed, but really being like, hey, you're getting here in July and you're not going to be able to go home until December. That was really hard freshman year, you know. And then I realized I didn't necessarily have like a social life, and so it was always, you know, ball, school, travel, repeat. But then you really learn to adjust, and then really going from the north to the south, again, a huge culture adjust. So it was a lot in my first year that I was like, hold up, I don't know if I made the right decision. But as I got situated and acclimated, it was by far the best experience that I think redefined my entire career as a whole. I always considered myself like a pretty, you know, smart individual who understood the Black dynamics and Black history, where when I got to campus, there was a whole slew of ignorance that I didn't even know existed. And so being able to tap in, and now you're walking in history, like you're in these buildings, taking these classes at these, you know, in Montgomery, the bus boycott was big there. And so you're really understanding a lot of what you don't know. And there's a huge thing of just Black ignorance that exists, that people just think like, oh, I'm woke, I got it. And it's like, no, you really don't. And that experience is completely what has pivoted what I began to do at Google, you know, from a DEI perspective, from a wellness perspective, and then ultimately led to what I'm doing at 7th Ave now. And it was all rooted in my HBCU experience. And so that was a very long-winded answer of saying it has molded me into who I am today. I am like pro HBCUs. I think every person should experience one, because there's no place ever that you'll find on earth that you can be openly Black and discover yourself and be protected as you are in HBCU. Because once I got into corporate, they're like, okay, great. And then you'd experience all the woes of being a Black person in corporate, where because I have felt so comfortable in my Blackness at school, I'm willing to challenge and show up in ways that I saw a lot of my colleagues did not feel comfortable in doing so. I'm a huge HBCU advocate.
I'm definitely right there with you, with me going to Clark Atlanta University, man. Like,
yeah,
I just got a phone call recently just talking about how challenging people like at work. And like, I work for a great company. And it's just the fact of just saying like, yeah, at the end of the day, you know, I came from Clark and I talked about it for like a couple of weeks and then they went away. And it was like, okay. And, you know, and it was like, what other schools do you, like, what other things do you do outside of school? So of course I agree with you with having to set that aside. Like, yeah, I was a good student and did different things, but like now what I'm gonna do. So I definitely agree with that. So definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely difficult to realize like the thing you wrap your identity in is not what other people care about. Right. And so really having to have that switch of like, yeah, you were this thing and that's great, but what else? Like what else are you coming with? And so that's a really very much slap in the face moment, but but a necessary question.
Like, oh man, it's a wake up moment. I gotta okay, let's figure this out. You know.
Absolutely.
So how important would you say tech is for the Black community? You know, tech need to be.
Oh, it's everything, especially because that's the one thing that is thriving and growing and changing so quickly. And oftentimes it's a tool. It's a tool of education and a tool of access. And often we are left behind in all of these things in terms of when the .com era happened. Like everyone who understood tech and what was happening with Microsoft, Google, you know, your Yahoos, whatever the case may be, they missed out on a huge market. And now you see like it's a white dominated marketplace in the tech industry. And now you're starting to see the same thing happen right now, where everyone's talking about like Web3, where you have your crypto, your NFTs, like your DAOs, like all these things that are happening right now. That's going to be the new wave. And so a lot of times we are very much late to the party. And it's usually because of lack of resources, lack of understanding, or people who are leading the charge are misinformed or have ill intentions. And so we're often the last ones to figure out what's going on, but then we're the ones that make the party. And so that's why I am a huge advocate of people understanding tech, people getting into tech, because it's not going away. And what you're seeing and what we saw at Google, like even in terms of how tech has gone from an offline experience where, being in retail, for my example, people love to go shopping and they like to try on clothes and everything like that, where now you're seeing all because of, Facebook, Instagram, there's this digital marketplace that exists. And if you're not able to compete digitally, you will close. And you see a lot of like your Sears, your J.C. Penney's, your Toys R Us, like they all filed for bankruptcy and ultimately are closing their doors because they can't keep up in the digital space.
Right.
And that's really where we are moving, is if you can't keep up, you will sadly be left behind. And so I highly encourage people to begin to get into tech, because that's the only way that the world keeps moving and the world keeps evolving. And if you don't understand how the electric cars are going to take the place of modern cars, if you don't understand how, machines or all these other things are going to take the place of what jobs are right now, and the jobs that are now to come will be jobs that are managing these machines, then you ultimately lose out on money. You lose, you get very behind on the eight ball once again. And so it's a very important thing that I think the Black community needs to understand and needs to encourage kids and anyone in any capacity to really understand and dive into, because it's not going away. It's really only compounding at a much, much quicker rate of change than we've ever seen it before.
Definitely. I definitely agree with that. Definitely. That's why I started the show as well, just so they can see different people in different professions. But when it comes to tech, it's like I push it so much because it's like I came from a rural area in Georgia. And
where are you from?
I'm from Fort Valley, Georgia. So
okay.
When I came up to Atlanta, like I visited here, I got family up here, things like that. But it was like, hey man, like it's like a culture shock, because you like, oh, like stuff move fast, everything's going. It's like, but one thing, when I got into a computer science class, I never forget. I was like, I can't keep up with these kids. I did not learn anything about none of it. But to be able to overcome that, it definitely was a great success, I say, for myself. And I'm glad I got to do it at HBCU, because
Yeah, because it was. I mean, it's a thing. Because what type of engineering do you do?
So I'm a software engineer now, and I'm actually about to move into like some data analyst stuff now. So I've been pivoting around. Like, let me just do everything I can get my hands on before I make my step away. Because I feel like I'm not stepping away from tech, but I'm definitely gonna step into like a classroom kind of thing. Like, definitely working to be a college professor, man. That's one of my main goals, to do that. So
I love that. Same here. And so would you say, like, how long did it take you to really understand, computer engineering?
It took,
or software engineering, I should say.
I would say that first year you learn. That freshman year,
we're gonna chalk it up.
We're gonna chalk it up to the game. I say about sophomore year, that second semester, I really sat down and said, I really could do this. And at that time, I was a dual degree student, so I did computer science and computer engineering at my university. So in taking those engineering courses, you see how like the math comes in, the science comes in, but when it comes to coding, it's like you really have to sit down and go. It ain't like a equation, like, oh, I can sit down. It's like literally you have to go over that stuff and test it and create stuff, creating websites and doing little funny things, my friend, like creating robots. I never knew that would transition into now in my regular career. I'm able to like get through a timeline, because I remember back, like, I remember staying at 3 a.m. trying to learn this stuff. Right? So
yeah.
This stuff now, because I got a whole sprint that's going to go for a couple months. When in school, I had to learn this in a matter of a couple weeks to get a project done. So definitely, I would say that sophomore year really hit me like, okay, I got to learn this stuff, go to another major,
So what, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to just hijack this here, but my last question, because I'm always curious to how people find themselves into tech, but what would you say was like that click moment of going from like, this is very difficult and I don't see myself in this, to actually, you know what, this makes a lot of sense?
Mm-hmm. I will be honest, I had a professor pull me to the side, and I never forget. She said, hey, I had got like a bad grade. I was just mad about it or whatever. And she was just literally told me, she was like, I already know you're going to graduate like with a degree and you're going to have a job. And I was like, okay, sounds good. But that same weekend, I went to my cousin's house and he was like, hey, I got you a job this weekend. You're going to go work at NASA for the summer. And I was like,
wow.
Whoa, wait a minute. Like, I just got through getting a D in the class. Like, how am I going to be able to go to NASA and work? And I thought he was joking at first. And as the time went, I would say by the end of that summer, I was able to go back to my university that sophomore year and be like, this is what I'm working towards. It may not be NASA, but I'm working towards learning this stuff so I can go work and do what I saw my cohorts do, like when they was working. Like I
Yeah.
saw a kid my age like working in, like, yeah, I've been with NASA since I was in middle school. He'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna compete just like you compete. That's how we need to do it. And I like how just get togetherness was, and I was able to bring that back to my universities.
Oh, I
Definitely.
love that. I love that. No, it was super dope. We had this was prior to me leaving, but we ended up having an event in DC. It was like some networking event for the campuses around.
Mhm.
And one of the kids, and they started. I don't know what Google has done. I guess they've offered up some programs for sophomores, but he had turned Google down to go to go develop software at NASA. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm going to work there for the summer. And I was like, okay, slight flex. So that's amazing.
Man, NASA's an amazing experience. I still stay in contact with everybody that I work there, and most of them are directors now. Like, and that was in
That's
20.
how it goes. People don't understand that. Like it's really a benefit to build, I think like vertically, not vertically, but horizontally, and then also stay in contact because you really don't know like who's going where and who can keep a door open for you, etc. And so it's very important to
Network is
stay
everything.
connected, do those follow-ups, network, check in every quarter. Like I'm just nothing, this is what's happening or this is what isn't happening.
Mhm.
And you never know where things will end up.
Right about that, man. So in that, that's on the same thing. Like, what is your it factor, man? Why you do what you do?
So I think that's a twofold question. I think my it factor and like what makes me me. I think I'm very consistent. I think the way that I show up and my friends will tell you like I say the same words for the most part. Like I do the same things. Like I'm very my routine's a little bit out of whack, but in terms of what I do and how I work, I tend to stick to things and see them through regardless of like the outcome and circumstance. And so my stamina to consistency and my commitment to consistency, I think, is like my shining glory. Um, but the reason of like why I do what I do, my biggest thing is killing Black ignorance. Like I live for that, and I think just going and it goes back to me being at school. I think I was awarded a lot of rare positions that a lot of people just are not able to be in. And that could be due to resources or circumstance, but I always had the resources, the support system, teachers pouring into me, like my managers have always poured into me, which is why even when I say like my Google experience is a one-off experience, because if you look at things statistically, a lot of Black women don't have good experiences in the tech space where I am like an anomaly to that. And so I always asterisk like I am a rare case in a lot of these situations. And that is solely because I've had a lot of support and people pour into me and open up doors for me. That have exposed me to a lot of things that I know being at Alabama State, a lot of people don't have access to.
Mm-hmm.
And going to a HBCU, I really realized that people, especially, Black people, like we're not dumb, we're not stupid, we're not lazy. We just lack the resources and exposure. And so if I'm able to get into these rooms and in these spaces that I know you can't, or, you have difficulty getting into, then I'm doing everyone a disservice and being in that position and not bringing people along the way or not sharing the resources that I'm learning up, in these rooms. And so what I do, the reason, and to the point of me even wanting to become a professor, is like if I can pour in anything that someone has poured into me and allow them to see the light in themselves that they don't, a light in themselves that they don't see, that means everything to me. And so I am literally working in what 7th Ave is doing and everything that I believe in outside of just my core roles. It's all leading back to giving resources, hope, faith, and exposure to people in the Black community that may not have it. But I'm a big believer in education across the board. And so that is why I do what I do, is because I understand some of the positions that I sit in and others. And it would be a disservice to anyone to not try to open the door or give anything back.
Got you, man. That's dope. I like that. I really like that. Yeah, man. I get involved with the 7th Ave, man. Like, let me know.
Hey, listen,
What I
we are
need
in
to do,
our we are in our process of raising right now.
Y'all need the podcast to come on there, man. We can partner.
Listen, we can talk. I'm being serious. So we can have a one-off conversation. I always love talking about 7th Ave and putting opportunities in people's hands and vice versa. Because I always think there's someone's always a master and a teacher in some way, in some form. And so if I'm able to learn and pour in and open up doors and vice versa, I'm always down for a
conversation. Okay. So, but man, so basically I would say, what is one of your ultimate life goals?
That is a
Anything.
loaded
You can be
question.
outside
That
with
is
it.
a great question though. I have a few. My ultimate like overall life goal I would say is probably to be able to get to a place where I can just exist and create and it not be anything that's detrimental or of consequence to anybody, right? So like right now, decisions that we make have the ability to impact, you know, people's jobs or the way that they live or the information that they get, and they're very pressure filled situations, and I live for those moments right now. But I would love to get to a place where I can just exist on an island. I'm good, everyone's good, and I can just create and read and do as I, you know, do as I please with no implications of someone else's life. That would be like my ultimate goal. And that in tandem with that is the ability to be free to create from a monetary standpoint. I'm not worried. So I'm creating just to be, you know, to just for me. That's it. I'm creating for me. And if people find value in it, that's amazing. So that would be one goal. And I think the secondary goal, which is kind of a contradicting point to the first one, I guess, but it would be to really create lasting impact in people and as many people as I can. And whether that's just me saying like hello and that made your day and that's what you needed to hear, to versus like Jamie poured in X amount of time and energy or resources, or she opened up a door for me. But whatever the case may be, I just want to leave a lasting impact of giving people hope where they may not have it. And then whether that is even me just living out my dreams in the fullest, like that may inspire someone, I'm not sure. But yeah, those would be my two biggest things: is to create without consequence and to pour into others as much as possible.
Okay, we already doing that, but yeah, you're gonna keep doing this. So you're doing that. So
Well,
that's
thank you. I
man.
appreciate you.
I love to be at the place where I can just do this and teach and just chill.
That's it. That is literally it. My
It's
mind
coming
wrapped in knowledge. It's on its way. No, it's very much on its way. I believe it's happening. It's just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm. So, man, tell me about 7th Ave, man. Like, what is it? Like, I think I have heard of it,
Yes.
but let me hear it.
Yes. 7th Ave is my baby at this point. And truly, genuinely. So we are I always start us off with like the Black owned. So we're Black owned, Black built, and Black invested, and Black ran for that matter. But we are an app, and what we consider ourselves is a tool that gives the Black community the resources that they need to find spaces that make them safe and feel like home. And why we exist, you know, primarily is because we know that a lot of times in the physical world, we have parties, we have barbershops, we have our grandma house, like we have schools, we have all these different things that we physically can go find, you know, our safety in and our home in. But to the point around tech, like things are moving online. And so those spaces just don't exist on an online platform, on an online space that put Black folks first, where you have your Instagram, your YouTubes, your TikToks. Those algorithms are all against Black, you know, they don't highlight and push forward Black folks. And they can have Black History Month campaigns, but then the comments are very much racist and no one, they can't protect it because it's freedom of speech. Like there's all these different things to more going to the point where there's just not many spaces digitally or technologically that exist where Black folks can be at home and have those resources to connect and build community. And that's what we are, and our app is all around that. And so if you go into the app today, you have the ability to start audio rooms. You have the ability to ask a question anonymously and someone in the community will answer it. You have the ability to share content on a community feed. And what we're looking to do is, instead of it being about me, where you get on Twitter, those are my thoughts. You get on Instagram, those are my pictures. You get, and you know, everything is me. We're about community. And so posting something that you want the community to learn and you want the community to see because it helps you or inspired you in some way, which goes back into the communal learning and killing Black ignorance. And that's, again, what we're looking to do across the board, is create those spaces, ask those questions, because we know that Black shame is real and we do not like admitting what we don't know. And so we'd rather go on not knowing it than asking the question and feeling stupid or dumb for someone to help. And so it's like, okay, cool, we'll ask it anonymously. And someone's going to answer it and you still get that information, right? And so we're really building for what we feel like we need in the community. And we've been building completely off of community feedback as well. We're very open with, hey, we're rolling out this new feature. What do you like? What do you not like about it? And they'll, you know, give their 2 cents. We recently got feedback that people hated the color of the app that we had. It wasn't warm and welcoming. So we completely redid the app color. And so, yeah, we're really like building community with our community, and we're looking to give them the tools that they need to create their own communities outside of 7th Ave. And so, yeah, that's the company in a short, long-winded answer. Yeah, and we started building, we closed our $2.5 million pre-seed round January of 2021. And then now we're currently going through our next seed round where we're going through, that's a whole like startup lingo. I know some people don't necessarily know what that means. And so we're just looking to go and get more capital so we can continue to build out this app that we think is definitely going to be a necessity in the Black community moving forward. And so, yeah, so we've been building, we officially had the App Store in October. And since then we've amassed close to about like 3,000 people in app, which has been really, really great to see.
Man, that's amazing. They ain't gonna do nothing but grow. I'm gonna download that thing, man, because I'm thinking about it
Please,
now.
please do.
What y'all need? That's why I'm like I said earlier, what y'all need from me? Because I post my stuff and cool, get your likes, whatever. But it'd be cool to do that for the community. Like, hear a conversation like this is what I do it for. To be able to so inspire people, let people know, hey, it's Black people out here. He went to school, yeah, he struggled, but look, like this is what.
But look, like Mama, I made it, type of thing.
Mama, I made it, Hey.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I say that too. Like, I open this up to anyone. Like, you don't have to be anyone special to come in and start a conversation. Like, we have conversations happening, weekly at this point. But anybody can start the conversation. Anyone can ask a question. Anyone can share feed to the content. Share content to the feed. And then from that point, it can be shared, liked, and commented on as well. So it's a communal platform, a communal tool to where you can come on and do whatever you want with it, right? Like, we're not necessarily restricting Black creativity because we thrive best when there's no restrictions. And so, yeah, but that's what it is. And that's anything that I would say, like, if people are like, how can I help or how can I get involved? Really, like I said, I would say, like, follow us on social, join the community from the app itself, like, download the app, share it out, and then reach out to us. Like, I would say, like, the one thing I love about my team is that we're very open to feedback. Like, we're very open to collaboration. Like, again, we're building with the community. And so we're always just looking to figure out where the synergy exists and how we can make it, come to the real world. And so that would be my ask of you and anyone else that listens or hears this or watches this, just this support, show up. And if you're literally genuinely interested, like, reach out. We are always having an opening ear.
Got you. I got you. And I'm gonna do one even better. Like, after this episode, what I do is, of course, it's not gonna come out for a while, but we can post what we like, a little snippet from the night, and I could tag you guys and tag you, of course. And that's good, man. That's how I'm gonna start with that one right there.
Please listen. Please do. Please do.
But like, in that, before we close out, do you have any questions for me?
Well, I guess I have one that's within two questions. So the one is like, in the same way that you were asking me, how can I get a part of your support 7th Ave? My question to you would be, you as a person, Jamie, like, how can I, help support you? And then how can 7th Ave also do the same? So one question, but two different answers.
Sure. So basically, it's a YouTube channel that I do have. You can go on there and tell people about it. Not saying to like or subscribe, but, leave a comment about some of the, you may see a tech person on there you want to reach out to, or 7th Ave wants to reach out to, by doing that. Or even, I would say, when it comes to support, you may have other colleagues that you work with that would like to come on the show, or you guys might want to use my platform and collaborate. That's how I feel like we can work together, since you did say that you guys are community. I believe in community. So if us good people can get together and just have a conversation about different topics, I feel like that'll be a good thing to kind of know. And also just keep doing what you're doing. That's my thing, keep changing the narrative, man. As I always say, that's one of my favorite quotes. And
I love that.
Keep changing the narrative, man. Keep, like you said, you trying to stop Black ignorance. I definitely understand it. I know, being in this corporate world, so many people that like are afraid to say certain things, but we'll say it amongst each other. And it's like, hey man, those people just like you, they put on their pants one leg at a time. Like, don't even think about it like that, And I always think of myself knowing that I'm a step away from a corporate thing. So while doing that, let me get enough experience so I can give it to someone else. So what you
Absolutely.
guys are doing, once I seen what you was doing, I looked at it. Of course, I'm a researcher, so I looked and I was like, I need to talk to her. I need to see how we can get in touch. And if I can interview, it's good. But just to know a person like you, that's good enough for me and my show, and my platform. So
Oh, well, I genuinely appreciate your kind words, truly. And like I said, I'm definitely always willing and open to having a conversation so we can talk one off, and see what synergy exists in that way. But I appreciate you even giving me this platform and this space and this time.
yeah, no problem, man. No problem. Well, it was nice meeting you. Nice having you on the show. That's pretty much the show.
Okay, no, thank you. I appreciate you you having me and reaching out. So I'm excited for this to come out and hopefully it resonates for some people and they get what they need.